Welcome to Satsunami. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Satsunami. I'm Satsunami and joining me today for a very special streamer spotlight is, well, you might have seen him around playing a lot of really awesome Sonic the Hedgehog content. It is indeed the one and the only SuperShadow271. Shadow, welcome on to Satsunami.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone.
I know, the first time you've been on the channel, honestly.
Yeah, I had watched you do this several times, and I thought, like, it would be nice to do this, but I was always too anxious to just ask.
Oh, no, not at all. No, it's a pleasure to have you on. Because seriously,
Yeah.
I really need to get back into the swing of, talking to other streamers and things. And,
Yeah, that's same here.
yeah, but honestly, what better way than to start with? This is me going on record, not trying to, butter up everyone that comes on the channel and be like, oh, the amazing. But no, genuinely, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and of course, we've known each other for, I'm just trying to think, how long ago it was.
Yeah, it feels like so long ago, but I can't say I remember exactly how many months.
Yeah, okay, it has definitely been a couple,
Yeah.
a couple, sorry, I'm underselling it here, it's like a good lot.
It's fine. I followed your train of thought there.
Yeah, because I remember I think the reason that I came across your channel was because, for a celebration stream, I decided to make the very foolish choice to play Sonic 06, which,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, if there's any Sonic fans out there, you will realise, how much of a goof that is. And
Yeah.
I decided to play that for 6 hours, and I only got through, a third of the game.
Really. Yeah,
Oh,
it's rough.
It's a long one. It's definitely a long game. I remember I was watching a YouTube video on speedruns, and some people have done the stories in under an hour and things, and I
Oh,
thought,
yes.
oh, I can do that as well. No, spoilers. It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me,
I know, I've
sorry.
watched Sonic Adventure 2 speedruns, and I always think, I could do that, and then I actually try it, and it just goes miserably.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's whenever you try to recreate a speedrun and then you're like, how the hell did they actually do that? And they do it with ease. They're just oh yeah, you have to hit this pixel in the right direction and everything, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is impossible. This is
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
yeah, this is
Particularly in I think it's Final Rush or Final Chase of Sonic Adventure 2. Basically, you're just falling throughout the entire level, and they go, there's an invisible kill plane right here, and you have to, angle yourself at this angle, and it's
Yeah.
how does anyone remember all that?
Oh, they've definitely got a different skill set by far.
Yeah, definitely.
They're just focused, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get through this, and you're like, man, just hats off to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, of course, after my failed attempt at a speedrun, well, it wasn't really it wasn't intended as a speedrun, but yeah, 6 hours later, I remember going around Twitch and trying to find other people playing Sonic 06, and I have to admit, it's quite hard.
Oh yeah, I know. They didn't make a tag for it or a category.
Yeah, I was really surprised because I think I did the same thing as you, where I used the tag of, I think it was just the regular Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, just Sonic 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the closest thing.
Yeah, honestly, there's none, which I was really surprised at because I thought even for the memes,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
even
I
for,
mean, they have categories for Metroid Prime 4 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Surely they could come up with one for 06.
yeah, yeah, that was surprising when I saw the Shadow one. I was like, huh, interesting. You've got one for
Yeah.
that, but not for 06. I think that was
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
the limit that Twitch was just like, no, if we put this in, it's against TOS or something.
Yeah. We want to discourage this as much as possible.
Oh yeah, Sega probably paid them off, with their.
That too, yeah.
That's why we've not got the Dreamcast 2, because I
Yeah.
paid off Twitch not to have that tag in. But yeah, I was looking for other players was going through the game, and then of course I stumbled across your channel, and it was honestly just like a really chill, really cool stream. In all seriousness, and
thank you.
yeah, no, I was really like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I was surprised, but like, because you are genuinely a nice person, but it was like, because I have been in some streams for Sonic, and some people streaming, I have seen some people who are just like, they're either doing speed runs or, you know, they're just more focused on the game, but I think it was just the fact you were so interactive and everything, and you were so like really, you always have been, like, you know.
Yeah, well, one piece of advice I always got from you know, when I started my streaming was like, just speak and try and talk even if there's no one there, because you know, you'll always get people who will stop by and hear you and, you know, realize that you're somebody cool. So that's always what I try and shoot for when I stream, and those '06 streams in particular were very, very much me trying to find someone to to distract me. So, but yeah.
No, I was just going to say, if I remember correctly, was it not someone recommended you to play the game on stream?
So, more or less. I had a follower who really wanted to see, well, honestly, he really wanted to play it himself, and I thought, hey, it might make for a fun stream, and I, truth be told, had never played it before. Like, I had seen enough of it to know everything about it, but I just never wanted to play it myself. And so finally I was convinced to just give it a go, and it ended up being a very fun stream, or series of streams for me.
So was that the very first time you ever played Sonic 06?
Yes, yeah. I played a little bit of it at a friend's house in the multiplayer. Like, they had me play as Silver, and I went, wow, this is quite terrible, and just never wanted to pick it back up.
I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Because, you know, when I was younger, I didn't have an Xbox or a PlayStation. So when my friend was like, yeah, you want to play this new Sonic game? It's like, yeah, of course. And then I played it, and I just thought, oh no, I never want to touch this.
Yeah. Well, see if it helps. The reason I bought Sonic 06 was because I really wanted to get into the next, like, gen of consoles. And at the time, and I thought, because like my brother had like a PlayStation 2, and I heard about like the Red Ring of Death and everything, I didn't really want to get like an Xbox, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna get a PlayStation 3 for Sonic, because Sonic at the time, despite like, you know, some of the less favourable games coming out at the time, I thought, okay, I'm gonna wait for the PlayStation 3 to play Sonic 06.
Yeah.
Not only is it the worst version you can get.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it was like waiting for a console that sad times.
I was very much looking into getting a console for Sonic 06. When I was young, I didn't have the money to just go out and buy a console, so I kept trying to find all sorts of ways to get an Xbox or a PlayStation just to buy that one game. Thankfully, the stars did not align on that, so I saved myself heartache.
Yeah, it sounds like a lucky escape, in all honesty.
Yeah, quite the bullet dodged.
Yeah. So this maybe is quite an obvious question, and I know we've kind of hinted at it from what we were just talking about. Yeah. What is the origin behind, if I can even get it out right, behind SuperShadow?
Yeah, so
271. Yeah.
Funny story about this. So I used to be a big fan of Neopets back in the day. And I was a big fan also because it was basically the only thing that would work with my computers, because my dad made me use OS2 for a long time. And Neopets was basically the only thing we could do, and I really wanted a Neopets account. So when I went to sign up, they asked me, what username do you want? And I thought, Shadow, he's my favorite character. Of course, you can't just name yourself Shadow.
Yeah.
So I thought, how about SuperShadow? And then that was rejected, of course. And so I just started bolting on my favorite numbers after it until it accepted. So I was like, okay, SuperShadow 2, SuperShadow 27, SuperShadow 271, and then that was what stick. what stuck rather.
Oh, that's quite cool, though.
Yeah, and I guess I just kind of decided to make that my default for everything.
It's a very distinct name, at least. Yeah.
Well, I have had a few people follow me saying like, "Hey, your username is so close to mine." There are quite a few Super Shadows out there.
Well, I mean, according to your name, there's 270 before you.
Yeah, exactly. I bested them all.
Yeah. Yeah. There can only be one SuperShadow271. There can only be one.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's what the one
Yes.
stands for at the end.
Exactly. Yes.
So out of curiosity, like it is safe to assume that we're of course both like Sonic the Hedgehog fans.
Oh, absolutely.
But what was your first like experience into Sonic?
My first experience with Sonic, I've been gaming basically my whole life, as long as I can remember. And I started out on my dad's Atari 2600 and played games like Adventure and Circus Atari, which are a lot of fun, actually. Seeing how much I liked the video games, my parents went out and bought, a quote-unquote modern console at the time, which was the Sega Genesis. And we got it at a store called Funko Land, which is sadly gone, which is a shame because I love that store. And, of course, when you get a Sega Genesis and you don't really know what there is for it, when you tend to ask people, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. That's the very first thing. So my parents bought me Sonic the Hedgehog, and I just grew up playing those games over and over again. Yeah, that was basically my first experience. For the longest time, I didn't think there was anything between the Genesis and the Dreamcast, because I was not up to date on my gaming news as a kid. My cousin would bring over her Dreamcast, and that's where I'd get to play Adventure 1 and 2. But as far as I was aware as a kid, there were Sonic's 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and that was it. So that's basically kind of my history with Sonic.
No, I was just wondering if like Adventure 2 might have been the first one, but
Yeah, it's my favorite for sure,
Oh, yeah.
but not the first.
I'm just trying to think of like what my first like game was, because I think like I was kind of in the opposite boat of it was my brother that had the Sega Mega Drive. Or Genesis.
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah.
I never understood why they named it like two things at once.
Yeah, I don't understand, and maybe I'm going to say something controversial here, but I
No.
prefer Genesis.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I know people prefer Mega Drive,
No,
but
go for
I
it.
like Genesis.
Yeah, there's nothing but hot takes in Satsunami. That's you're in good
All right.
company.
Sounds good then.
But yeah, my brother I think had the original one, and I never really played it very much. I think the closest I got to playing the 2D ones was like for our old family computer we had like a demo of Sonic CD, which
Oh.
was a lot of fun, but kind of going back to it now, I realise how old I've gotten, because there's like so much going on the screen, there's like flashing colours, and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh god, just put it away in a dark box.
Yep. Yeah, I did not know Sonic CD existed for a long time, and it's very strange because growing up with the Genesis Mega Drive titles, it's such an odd duck compared to all of them, because the goal isn't even so much to just get to the end, it's to, create a good future. I had trouble grasping that when I first played it, and it's still a little weird for me.
Because you just want to run fast and just get to the goal ring, and then
Yeah, well, that's essentially what the Genesis games instill in you, is like you run, or you get through the level, you learn, you go fast, you get faster at the game, and I've always held that as like the core principle behind Sonic, is repetition to learn to get faster to feel good. And so Sonic CD being more explorative and goal-oriented was very strange for me.
And I mean, it's on. I think we were talking about this earlier, just about like speedrunners and things. But like, it's no wonder that speedrunners choose games like Sonic to play through.
Yeah.
Because it
Oh,
is.
absolutely.
Oh, it is. It's just like not such, but so fast to get through it sometimes. It's like you can play a game for, I mean, like I've done it in stream and I know you've played through it as well, and it takes like a couple of hours depending on the game to get
Yeah.
through certain stories. Like depending on the game, like Sonic Adventure for example, and then you all of a sudden like menacingly looming over the distance is like the speedrunner coming in being
Yes.
like, I'll just do that in what, 20, 30 minutes? That'll be fine, I'll break the game. And it's like,
Yep,
okay,
yep.
fair enough. Fair enough. You do you.
Yeah. Well, I've always found, because if you ever read the Nintendo Power issue with Yuji Naka, he was saying how the original concept for Sonic was replaying World 1-1 of Mario so often that like you got really fast at it and that felt
Yeah.
rewarding.
Hmm.
And so to me that's like the essence of Sonic and the essence of speed running is you learn, you figure out what works and it feels rewarding to go fast.
Hmm.
So that's that's why I think Sonic and speed running go so well together is that whole process is essentially one and the same.
Oh no, absolutely. And especially for like the adventure series as well. When it transitioned into 3D, it was just like, yeah, well, at least for the first game anyway, like Adventure 1, that was just, at least for the Sonic sections, we don't talk about Big here.
Yeah, we do not discuss big.
Yeah, we don't talk about that cat because if I do, I feel as if I'll Beetlejuice him into existence. It'll just be like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh
Yeah.
god. Yeah, for any non-Sonic fans listening, thinking, what the hell am I talking about? Yeah, Big the Cat, like, imagine a very fast-paced game, and then all of a sudden they think, do you know what this platformer needs? It needs a big purple cat with a fishing rod. That's what we need.
Well, you know why they added him actually, right?
Yeah, was it they wanted to test out the like physics or the mechanics on the Dreamcast?
Well,
Or
no, actually, the reason they added him was to cross promote Sega Bass Fishing.
oh god, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they thought that if people played big, they would be incentivized to play bass fishing and buy bass fishing.
I'm not
Which,
I'm not gonna lie, I feel as if like Sonic fans are not the main demographic for fishing.
oh yeah, I wouldn't think so either,
Yeah.
but I guess someone at Sega thought so.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen a fisherman and a Sonic fan in the same room? You know, like
Yeah, polar opposites.
probably. Yeah. Oh,
The adventure games are really unique to me because they took something that I think most people assume can't work, which is like Sonic in 3D,
yeah.
and really just applied those same philosophies. And I have a top 5 favorite games video on my YouTube channel, and I kind of talked about it a little bit. Adventure, especially Adventure 2, but sort of in Adventure 1, it's you don't go fast the first time. The idea, much like the Genesis titles, is that you replay it and then you learn, okay, I need to jump here and there's a hidden thing here and I can go fast here. And I think Adventure 2 in particular does that better than any other Sonic game, and that's why it's my favorite. It just feels so good.
I mean, it definitely does get the balance down for gameplay for the most part.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, there are things you can tweak, certainly.
Oh
but
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
for my money, I would rather replay Adventure 2 than basically any other Sonic game.
And then, of course, after that was just, yeah, a very dark period, which,
Yeah.
even if you're not a Sonic fan, I feel as if it's like, yeah, I feel as if any kind of gamer knows, like, loosely, like,
Yeah.
how bad the reputation is after that kind of period.
Yeah, well, if I can go on a slight tangent for a
Absolutely.
second.
Nope, absolutely.
So, I think what makes that period especially bad for Sonic is really the fact that I think Sega listens to its fans too much about things, which I know sounds really weird, but if you ever hear the story of why they made Shadow the Hedgehog the way it is with like guns and, all that, is because they hear several fans go like, this, we want Sonic to have a gun. And they try and incorporate that when I think there needs to be a healthy amount of, okay, but would that really be a good idea? So I think for Sega, they hear, they try something and then they hear fans and try and overcompensate and then hear fans again, and I think they just need to kind of focus on something and refine it instead of try and appease everyone too much, because you're never going to please everyone.
Because, I mean,
So-
that is, like, one of the big strengths of the series, mind you, that it is a series that is willing to take risks and kind of try different things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But on the other hand, when your different thing, like for example with Mario, like with Odyssey, you had the hat, that possessed people. With Sunshine, you had, the
Yeah.
water cannon, like things like that. With Shadow the Hedgehog, they gave him a fully automatic rifle and told him to go
Yep.
shoot the military. And you're like, it's Sega, a word, just
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, it's funny. It's funny to me because everyone's reaction. I feel like if they had spoken to even a few more fans about the concept, everyone could have told them,
Yeah,
hey, this is not a good idea.
even when I was younger though, like I do remember being really excited for the game.
Oh,
And
same.
then,
Yeah.
like I was really hyped to play it, and then when I played it, it was kind of like, is it?
Yeah. Well, actually, I just did a stream a couple days back of it, and there are things I do actually really like about it, but I think just so many other things were not well thought out. and I think they would have just done better to stick to a formula rather than try and crowbar in gun mechanics.
They did have interesting ideas in the game with like the branching narratives and things like that,
Yeah.
but there was I'll agree with you there was a lot where you kind of felt as if you hit a brick wall when you were, sometimes literally you would hit a brick wall,
Yeah.
because that was one of the missions. But you know, it's like 10,
Yeah.
10 different endings for,
Yes.
you know, essentially the same thing. And I mean, don't get me started on like the, so again, just to kind of explain, to give context, there's a particular level when you have to go to a space station, that of course being the Ark levels,
Yep.
and that is by far some of the worst level I have ever played in
Oh
a
yeah,
game.
absolutely.
It is one of the absolute, I don't even have any words to like rant about this. Don't worry, I will bring it back in, I promise. But it is,
No, it's fine.
oh, but
It definitely it definitely was a huge barrier right at like the end of a run, because it's one of the later levels. So if you get that, you're already committed to a story, and then you just get to that level and it just drags on and on and on.
because it is just one of those, like, if it's not a collectathon objective, it's going to be like, oh, you have to kill as many, you know, like, I don't know, alien soldiers, Sonic clones, you know, whatever. You have
Yeah.
to do that every sort, or find the computer room. There's the famous one.
Yes, definitely.
And it is, it's just, it almost feels as if it's just like a mishmash of ideas. And
Yeah.
it's got good and bad ideas, but
Yeah.
I take it as safe to assume that that wasn't the game that inspired you to get into streaming.
Oh yeah, definitely not. No. I enjoy it for what it is, but I definitely, if anything, it would have been Adventure 2. But there was no one game I said I would like start streaming on. For me, because I'm a game collector, I have almost 2,000 games physically, and probably around 6,000 if we're including digital.
Damn, well,
Yeah, and I have a horrible problem of buying games and just not finishing them, or
Yeah.
even playing them really.
guilty
So
as well. Yep.
yeah, so I got into streaming because a friend of mine who I met at, I actually met him at my job at a well, not a supermarket, it's a department store. And he and I connected, and he was a streamer, and he said, "Hey, you really know your stuff. You should try streaming. A lot of people would probably really like you." So I figured it would be best to kill several birds with one stone by, you know, actually playing games I buy, and you know, being able to vent about games and game topics that I otherwise can't. And yeah, so I just kind of got into streaming that way. But I think I've definitely played a lot more Sonic than any other franchise.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Says
I
me.
almost feel like it wouldn't be it wouldn't be right for a guy named Shadow to not stream Sonic at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think like salt on the wound would be if you decided to be like, okay, I'm gonna call myself Super Shadow. I'm gonna have like the Shadow the Hedgehog insignia, and then you did nothing but play Mario.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. Just like, yeah, this is a Mario only channel. You know, people being like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Any time travelers
Bait
from
and
the
switch.
any time
Yeah.
travelers from the 90s just being like, what the hell is going on here?
I'm still waiting for that Mario and Sonic crossover game, so that way everyone from the 90s can have their minds blown.
Yeah, like a real one and not like a Olympic.
Not Olympics, yeah.
Such a strange crossover, honestly.
It really is. Of all games. Why why the Olympics?
Yeah, I can get them doing like a party game or something, or
Yeah.
something like that, or even Smash Bros. Technically,
Yeah.
loosely you could say, but it's not really like a Mario and Sonic, you know. Which
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised considering Nintendo are like quite what is the right and like nicest way to put this? Like very
Lenient.
yeah, well, just like very hungry to like capitalize on like a lot of like nostalgia for a lot of
Oh,
franchise.
yeah.
Well, at least some of them. It's like they've probably got the biggest like nostalgia base, but they don't like capitalize on some of them. Again, this is coming from someone who was a Banjo-Kazooie fan,
Oh,
and yeah,
yeah.
my heart has been broken more than once. with that
Oh, I
franchise.
feel for you.
Oh,
Oof.
yeah, just grim times ahead.
Yeah. I do think though that Sega sits on its franchises more than Nintendo does. Like
Oh yeah.
as far as modern Sega is concerned, Sonic, Yakuza, and Total War are basically the only the only franchises that exist. So
See, Total War's a really weird one. In fact, I think most. Well, I can't speak for the Yakuza games because that's another game that I've downloaded.
mhm.
And yeah, I've downloaded it. It's on the
Yeah,
backlog. It's on the Game Pass,
yep,
Honestly, you see the amount of times I bring up Game Pass in Chatsunami, you would think I was sponsored by them. I'm not,
yeah, right,
but if
yeah,
anybody knows who to contact, give me a phone. But
yeah, right.
like, yeah, I've downloaded it and I have not played it yet, but I really want to. It's one of those games where I'm
Yep,
like, should I stream it? Should I just play it on my own? I think I'll probably play it
yeah,
on my own because it's such like a long,
yeah.
story-based game and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
That's what puts me off of it. It's
yeah.
like I look at all the times to completion. It's like I don't have that kind of time, but then I'll spend 100 hours in a roguelike or something and
Yeah.
realize I probably should.
But I mean, with like franchises like Total War, that has definitely evolved into something completely different from what it started
Yeah,
out at. Like, I mean, the core concept's the same. Like, you choose a faction, take over the world. But I think ever
yeah.
since Rome 2, they've like introduced a lot more microtransactions
Oh
and
yeah,
things like that.
definitely.
And it's like, oh, do you want to be the Spartans? Get your wallet out, and you're like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to
But
pay
you
to be.
yeah, but in that sense though, you can understand why they keep it alive because they
Oh
can
yeah.
bilk it for a lot of money.
Oh yeah, like people.
So,
See, this is the thing. Like people complain about these kind of franchises, yet because they're like buying into them or buying the DLC, it's like, well, you're
mhm.
still like supporting it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they wouldn't make fans unhappy if it wasn't making them money.
oh yeah,
So clearly it's working out for them because they're still buying it. That's
tragic.
kind of a different topic.
Oh yeah, it's tragic.
Yeah, yeah. If you've ever seen that Modern Warfare screenshot, I mean, there is some debate about it now, but like the one where it's like boycott Modern Warfare 2, we want dedicated servers, and then it's a screenshot
Uh,
of everyone in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's another franchise that has. Oh, I don't even know where to even begin with that.
Oh,
But
I know,
it's
right?
like honestly, it's one of those franchises that you know the way like you grow up with a franchise and then
Hmm.
you just see it slowly decay. And I don't know whether that's
Yes.
just because it's like rose tinted glasses for the old
Yeah,
games,
maybe.
and then not always. Like sometimes it is, sometimes it's like the game, like the original
Yeah.
game is, like genuinely a really good game.
Yeah, oh, of course.
But yeah, with Call of Duty, it's just it has literally become like I think I was not arguing, but I was talking to someone about this the other day about Warzone and how
Hmm.
the fact there's so many like because it's a free
Free
battle
download.
royale game, yeah. Although
Yeah,
the
yeah.
updates, which I won't rant about the updates because
Yeah.
we could be here all night. But
Yeah, yeah.
the uploads or not the uploads, the updates are just ridiculous for that game, but they've
Mm.
also got a lot of like microtransactions and
Oh,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like you can buy skins, you can buy the battle pass, and that's clearly where they're getting the money from.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But
That's
this
how most.
one of my friends who I do the T-pose and Let's Play series with, we record like quite a lot of like just matches that we've done in Warzone and upload it
Mhm.
onto YouTube. But there was one instance where we actually got attacked by a guy who basically was hacking the game. Like he
Oh, okay.
managed to like shoot us from right across the map,
Oh, jeez.
and
Fun.
it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's the thing for a game like that big, not having like anti-cheat measures in. It's fun times. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry,
I
that was my
think.
mini rant. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll just add one last thing to
Yeah,
it. I
no.
actually just saw earlier today a report that basically every Activision studio is now a Call of Duty support studio.
Oh God,
So,
really?
yeah, they are killing every studio just to prop up Call of Duty, and that makes me quite sad
Yeah,
because I was hoping for other things from them, but so be it, I guess.
that is tragic, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
was.
speaking of,
Yes.
oh, I was just gonna say, speaking of decaying series, Sonic
Oh
is
yeah, that too.
Yeah. Have you been reading up on like all the rumors about Sonic Rangers, the supposedly new game?
I actually haven't really read many of the leaks. Like I heard it was called Sonic Rangers, which I think is the extent of it. Can't remember what the other thing was, but no, feel free.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Sonic Rangers is definitely confirmed because even in Sega's press release they added the title to it. So that much is pretty much a lock-in. But several people who supposedly play tested it were speaking out about how so apparently it's going to be a lot like Breath of the Wild.
Oh yay!
And yeah, I appreciate that Sonic's trying different things, but it's just you have a formula that works. You have adventure right there. People are begging for it. Just use that. Why do you have to copy Breath of the Wild?
It seems
Like I love Breath of the Wild, but it's not Sonic.
See, funny enough, I was actually talking to my friend Greenshield and I, ironically enough, we were playing through Breath of the Wild,
Oh
and
yeah.
I actually brought that up with him. I was like, why is it that nowadays games always want to be like the new Breath of the Wild? Because don't get me wrong, like Breath of the Wild is like a beautiful looking game, it
Oh, yeah.
controls well, there's like
Yeah.
so much room for exploration. It's a great game. Like I can't
Yeah, well, absolutely.
like I can't take that away from it to be like, oh, I'm gonna bash it because I'm not. But it seems as if, and I was saying this to Green Shield as well. It seems as if it's a bit like, remember there was a time where every game wanted to be like Skyrim. Like,
Yes.
for
Oh,
example,
I remember that.
Fallout. It's Skyrim but with guns, or
Yes.
Far Cry. It's Skyrim but with
Yeah, or,
I don't
or
know,
Dark
Island.
Souls.
Yeah, it's Skyrim but
Every-
harder.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it seems as if it's looped around that this is a new game that has raised the bar, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, every game has to be like Breath of the Wild, which again, there's nothing wrong with like, not lowering, but making your expectations higher, or your standard rather, like higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you
I-
think of it though? Sorry.
So, I think, at least in terms of, I think Breath of the Wild is just another instance of, ever since the industry was really created, it's kind of been based off of knocking what's popular, It's, hey, Mario's popular, so like a lot of platformers get created, or hey, Street Fighter's now popular, so we gotta make a lot of fighting games, and I think that's just kind of been the history of the industry as a whole. I think Breath of the Wild, once people finally get sick of those style of games, whatever next game comes out that inspires people, it's going to get copied to hell and back.
Because there's
So-
always like phases though, isn't there? Like as you said, it was like the platformers in the kind of 90s, then it was
Yep.
like the shooters, then it eventually led on to sandbox games, and then
Yeah, and MMOs
Yeah.
and battle royales. And,
oh god, Battle Royale was just the bane of my existence. Just don't get me wrong, like that's me being a hypocrite, because I'm like, oh, I play Warzone, and then I'm like, but also because of course you've got Fortnite, which honest to God, like I just look at that game and I feel old. I'm just like, yeah, not in a bad way. Like it looks as if it's a game that's like really like well made and everything, and there's
Sure, yeah.
obviously like there's a popularity to it, but I'm just like I honestly would not know where to begin, and I don't like the idea of being like absolutely decimated by like a 12-year-old online.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just like sniped in
True.
the head, and just like
Yeah.
being part of like little Jimmy, 420s like YouTube montage,
Yeah.
where he,
Yeah.
and I quote, pawns noobs, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah. Like, do you remember a few years back when everything was turning into a MOBA? Or like a Dota clone or anything.
I mean,
I remember that was one of the most like difficult times for me, because it just felt like everything was like, we're gonna be the next Dota or the next League.
I
It's
mean,
just-
technically they're still doing that, just very kind of subtly and off the side. Like, especially with Pokemon, they are working with, I think it's Tencent.
Tencent?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one. And yeah, they're making an MMO, or sorry, a MOBA even, not an MMO.
Yes.
Like, we'll never
Yeah.
get an MMO of Pokemon. But
Yeah,
they're
probably not.
but they're making like a MOBA game, and it was not really received well either. It was just like everyone was like, "Yeah, we don't want this. We just want a polished game." It's like,
Yeah.
no, you'll download this. It's like,
Yeah. Well, that is the one weird thing about trends. Trends don't I mean, most trends don't really die off entirely. There will always be at least a little subsection because, people still make platformers, people still make shooters, people still make, I'm sure they will still make battle royale games in the future. But I think the zeitgeist of it will die down, move on to the next thing.
We can only hope.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Oh, of course. Sonic trying to emulate Breath of the Wild just seems like a massively misguided idea.
I honestly think nowadays it's just a series that they're trying to throw everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, it seems to be like, oh, let's try one with parkour. Oh no, it doesn't work. Let's try one where create your own OC. Oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. Oh, we'll try
Oh,
one
yeah, no.
that you have to fight as a werehog. And you're like, oh no, please stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm going backwards in the timeline there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think '06 really damaged Sega, or at least Sonic Team, to the point that they just don't want to go back to any previous style because it'll get, mild criticism, and then, they just think, well, we can't go back to this now. I think '06 really just damaged them long term.
I mean, if you look at a parallel series in the form of Banjo-Kazooie, they had a similar experience where maybe not to the same extent as Sonic 06. I think definitely that killed off any attempts of innovation there, but with nuts and bolts that came out, it was one that was completely different from what came before it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, the only time we've seen them again is in, ironically enough, in Smash Brothers. But that's
Yeah,
it. They've never been seen since. Unless I could be wrong in that. If anyone can correct me on that, please feel free to let me know. But yeah, any main series game, I should probably reiterate, there's not really been one since. But I suppose at least with Sonic, it didn't kill off their, the series completely. But they still managed to I wouldn't say brush it off, because it's kind of become especially with Let's Players and things, it's become a bit of a meme to play through Sonic 06.
That's the trouble. I think also, if you I forget when this was, but if you read the art, there was a Sega press release where they were saying we want to make less Sonic games and more Yakuza games. And I think that's a pretty indicative statement of their stance on Sonic, is just nothing's working out, so we're just going to de-emphasize it.
Which is a bit of a shame.
It is. I think Sonic has so much potential still left in him. It's just not being brought out.
It's a bit of a shame, though, that with the exception of Mario, of course, because Nintendo are just that huge cash, a huge cash train that just are not going to stop. They're just going to keep rolling through. But if you look at other series like Sonic, Mega Man, I mean even Pac-Man to an extent,
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, technically, sorry. I'll take that back, because Pac-Man had, the Tetris 99 treatment, did they not, recently?
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so, okay, Pac-Man, you get a you get a pass this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a shame, a lot of these, franchises are kind of not, I get, you have to evolve with the times, but
right.
It is kind of a shame that these franchises are kind of just getting, I wouldn't say dropped, because there is still a demand for Sonic games and especially Mega Man games. That's a whole other beast in itself.
The trouble is at least in terms of Sonic, they still, even the bad games still sell surprisingly well. But I think Sega has just stopped wanting to put in all the weight behind it. They're probably gonna start draining something else like Yakuza and Persona, since they do own that now.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, well, because Persona is Atlas, and Atlas is owned by Sega. So,
okay.
Which is very weird to think about.
That is actually quite strange.
And if rumors end up being true, maybe Microsoft will buy Sega, and then and then it'll just all be owned by Microsoft.
I wouldn't be surprised, if they just hoovered them up, because Microsoft seemed to just be doing that with all the companies. They did it with Bethesda most recently.
Yes.
So we get to.
I mean, rumor has it. Oh, no, it's fine. Rumor has it Microsoft wants to get into Japan, so at least from my perspective, buying Sega is a very smart choice. They've got a lot of really Japanese franchises and influence, and it would be smart for them to do, but I would be sad to see Sonic be exclusive or PC and Xbox. Like, I feel like he's always had a home on Nintendo, so it'd be very sad if he never went to another Nintendo platform.
Yeah, we'll just get the Banjo-Kazooie treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they'll
Yeah.
be building cars in an oily workshop, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
what what has happened? No.
I mean, truth be told, I don't think Microsoft could handle Sonic any worse necessarily.
Yeah.
Because did you see the statement where Sonic Team said, like, we were so surprised that Mania did well? It's like, why? Why is that surprising?
I mean, this is the same company that, and I know you did like a stream on this and everything, and the response was a bit lackluster. But for the 13th like stream, or not the 13th, sorry,
The 30th.
30th even, yeah, get my numbers, 13 or 30. What age is Sonic? Yeah, the 30th stream, 30th anniversary rather, where they basically announced like a lot of very lackluster stuff to it, and it was not received well at all.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I saw quite a lot of memes of people, screenshotting like a before, like a prediction, people going like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna eat well tonight," and then they post like an after picture and the plate's like empty.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite sad.
No, sorry, I was just going to say, like, see, considering how one of the highlights was them saying that they were going to include like a Sonic skin in like the Olympics game or something.
Yeah.
And like I can't remember what the game's called. 2 Point Hospital, I think it is.
Yes, 2 Point Hospital.
Yeah, because I remember growing up with like, is it Theme Hospital or Theme Park Hospital, something like that.
Yeah.
And then they brought it back as that, but. I was really laughing at the memes because it's like, you've got your doctor who you can dress up as like Sonic or Tails or just any of the Sonic characters, and it's like, imagine if you're coming into the hospital to like, get your vaccine, or you're just you walk in and there's just a doctor dressed up as Sonic the Hedgehog waiting to give you a jab. It's like, did nobody in Sega think, okay, maybe this isn't the best idea?
Well, yeah, I've been talking to some friends about the Sonic Central stream, and so the three things they started off with were like, hey, you can wear a Sonic suit in the Olympic Games, the 2 Point Hospital DLC, and that Sonic the Fighters is going to be an arcade machine in Lost Judgment. And I thought, like, those are neat little things, but those are like Easter eggs to me. The fact that they spent more than like a minute on those really just signaled to me they had like nothing to show. And it really felt that way because when Mania was announced, as horrible as that stream was, they spent an hour focusing and really pushing Sonic Mania as a concept. This stream just felt like they really couldn't be asked to put that kind of effort in. It's just, hey, here's Sonic Colors Ultimate, there you go. And then it just really was quite sad.
I think considering like we didn't get news about a new Sonic game until that time.
Yeah, that too.
And the fact that the stream itself glitched out, it was like, what? Because I have to admit, it was very like interesting seeing your response to it on your channel.
Oh yeah,
because I know you like streamed it, and yeah, it was not a good time, I think, for anybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, like there were some nice things. Like obviously the new Sonic Colors animations look pretty cool, but there were like when they talked about Sonic Prime, I was like, they showed nothing and said nothing about this and wasted like 5 minutes. You know, it just always felt like they either weren't ready or didn't really care enough to put much, behind it. Sonic Origins Collection, where it's like, hey, the Sonic 3 is getting re-released. It's like, great, who's doing it? What there were rumors that they're going to change up Sonic 3, and like, what does that entail? And they wouldn't even tell us that. It all feels very half-hearted.
Yeah, other than that, great company, 10 out of 10, please sponsor me.
yeah, right? Yeah, Sega, if you're looking for someone to shill your products.
Yeah. I mean, we've literally got SuperShadow here. It's the perfect spokesperson for your company.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Get in contact. But yeah, I know what you mean. It was quite, I suppose, not really reading the room, or the internet, as it were. Not really getting... Again, it loops back to what you were saying before about, like, on the one hand, you don't want to, like, cave in too much about what the fans want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you kind of have to listen a little bit, because otherwise you just get whatever the hell Sonic Forces was.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever play that?
I did. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like a 2-hour game.
Oh yeah, true, true.
It's I I really detested it because like even when I started to get into it, like the levels were so short. It was like by the time I really felt like I was getting going, it just ended. And of course the avatar stuff was really poorly implemented. Like it was fun to create an OC, but beyond that, it just wasn't fun to play as. Of course, me bringing this up, but the Shadow DLC was terrible.
Yeah,
They
that
they
wasn't
made
great.
it like 3 levels.
Yeah, I think their original plan was they were going to make more, were they not? I think,
I don't
or
remember hearing that.
well, maybe that was just a fever dream from my end.
No, it's fine. I get all sorts of like
Yeah.
Sonic stuff mixed up. I was gonna say because before we joined, I was thinking of bringing up something, but I didn't want to be wrong about it, so I looked it up and I couldn't find info on it anywhere. But I remembered reading about how Sonic or Sega thought Sonic Heroes was the real Sonic Adventure 3, but they just
Yeah.
didn't want to call it Sonic Adventure 3.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would
I
have
mean,
been,
I
yeah, I would have been very disappointed. Because I'm going to be honest, like, I haven't, like, remember you were saying earlier about how you played through, like, the early Sonic games and you didn't realise there was, like, a space in between that and the Adventure series?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was the same when I played Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Absolutely loved them, played through them.
Hmm.
And then just by chance, I was in, and this is how far, like, this is how I'm showing my age here, but I was in a Blockbuster
Oh,
and
of course,
I
yeah.
came across, like, the cover for Sonic Heroes and I was like, Sonic Heroes? Why is that? I was like, I've never heard of this.
Yeah.
And I was honestly like flabbergasted. I was like, oh my god, I've got to play this. And I played it and completed it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was not really for me.
Yeah, it was not. It was an interesting idea, but
Oh yeah,
it just was not right.
yeah. That and
But
sorry, I was just going to say quickly that I just absolutely detest the art style for that game.
you
Like,
know, actually, I don't detest the art style so much, but I think certain graphics just need to be
oh,
adjusted.
like maybe like okay, maybe I'm being too harsh and like saying overall. Like overall, it was okay, but the
Yeah,
models that they use, like the sheen and the
yeah,
plastic, I
yeah,
don't like them, and I hate the fact they use them for shadow. Considering that's meant to
yes,
be like a dark and gritty game, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way,
yeah,
yeah, we've got Plasticine Man with an AK-47." It's like, no,
yeah.
no, stop, please stop.
Yeah. Well, if I remember, because Sonic Heroes was their first game being multi-platform,
Hmm.
so they thought like, let's just make an engine that will work across
Hmm.
multiple things in multiple games,
Yeah.
and stuff like that happened. But sadly, before stream, I wasn't able to find their exact quote about Heroes being Adventure 3. So like,
Hmm.
I might be I might be lying about that, but
Yeah.
I definitely remembered reading them go like, well, we after Adventure 2, we wanted to continue on with like an explorative style, so we made Heroes, and we decided we didn't want to call it 3 because that would scare non-Sonic fans away. I
That
just
does sound vaguely familiar.
yeah.
About scaring fans off, but that is definitely one of the games that people really wanted, like an Adventure 3, and we've never
Oh
gotten
yeah.
it since.
Yeah,
And
it's,
it's
you're talking to one.
yeah, exactly.
I still, to this day, like, I will be very excited about Adventure 3,
Hmm.
but I'm going to be the most critical person of it.
Hmm.
I will be that guy looking at every pixel in the trailer.
I mean, like, let's face it, the closest we ever got to Adventure 3 was Sonic 06. And
Uh,
exactly. That is not something I'm happy to admit on the channel.
yeah.
To be like, like I don't. I can see what they were going for in the third in
Yeah.
oh 06, but
Well, at least for me, what I find difficult about saying that though is that it wasn't really intended to be a Sonic game initially, because I forget who, I think it was the programmer, it was like building a different like physics-based game, and like they said, he thought like, hey, what, since we need something for Sonic's anniversary, let's make a Sonic game out of this. So for me, saying it's Adventure 3 kind of feels off because like it wasn't planned to be a Sonic game, but then It is, so I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that.
I mean, considering the art style for that is how big can we make Sonic's head in proportion to a real life human being? And
Yeah, yeah.
basically, the love interest, which again,
Mm.
I'm cringe to say
Yeah.
it, but if she curled up like she was just a normal human woman, if she curled up into a ball, went to fetal position, she would probably still be smaller than Sonic the
Oh,
Hedgehog's
yeah.
head. And that is something that keeps me up at night.
Oh, I know.
I look at the ceiling and I think, why did they make that decision? Why,
I
why,
know.
why is he built like a bobblehead or like a defunct Funko Pop or something? It's like it's
Yeah.
yeah. If
Okay,
it,
one
oh,
thing
sorry.
though. I will at least play devil's advocate a little bit. So Sonic in his like conceptual stage was intended to have a human girlfriend.
Oh
So
yeah. Uh-huh.
at least in that sense it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
But they changed it during the planning stage and I'm glad they did because it obviously does not work.
Yeah. I mean, on the other
So
hand, though, at least that was the 90s, where
yeah.
like there was a lot of wacky things going on then.
Yeah. Well, I mean his girlfriend was going to be Madonna or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
so
Did she not look like oh, what's her name? Is it Pauline or something? The woman
she
from
kind of yeah.
Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of was like a blonde Pauline. It just looked so weird.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I would have accepted it, but I just would have been like,
yeah,
okay, this is weird. This is like Bubsy levels of weird, which is a game I
yeah,
never
yeah.
played either. But
I played a little bit of it. It's not good.
yeah, I was going to say, was it everything you dreamed of?
I mean, I guess if that dream was a nightmare, yes.
Okay, fair point, fair point.
Yeah. So Sonic Extreme,
Yeah.
the Saturn game that they canceled.
Oh, yeah.
So it was originally planned to be Sonic 4, and if you read the like description for the plot that they were originally planning, it sounds like a really bad self-insert fanfic.
Oh, really?
And I'm very glad they canceled it. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God.
like, hey, there's Princess, whoever, and her father, the king, and you have to go rescue her, and it's just like that would have been such a massive departure from the classic 2D ones where it's like you're saving forest animals.
Yeah. I don't know, it actually almost reminds me of when they tried to make a film for Sonic. Not the new one, but
Yeah, the
like
OVA.
the OVA, that's the one. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was like him saving a cat girl or something, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
never again.
Well, yeah, never again. To be honest, I don't like the OVA. I like the animation style, but not much else.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if
but
anything, it's given us good meme content.
that too,
Yeah.
yes. I admit I do like the. I know everything you're going to do. But you're not
Strange,
gonna.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But you know what I equated to? I equate
Yeah.
it to like someone playing a piano off key.
Ah,
Like,
okay. I'll
you,
give you that.
yeah, yeah, because like you can recognize certain things, but then it just sounds so wrong, and that's
Yeah.
what that
Oh.
feels like for me. But apparently, it was meant to pitch a TV show that never actually got the green light,
I
which is
wonder why.
interesting.
Oh, I wonder
Yeah,
why. That's
no
a
idea.
mystery.
Yeah,
Considering Sonic with like a PSA about. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Just look up
yeah,
Sonic PSA on YouTube,
yeah,
and you'll see exactly what I mean by that.
yeah,
Yeah, just yeah, that kind of show was fine, but yeah, the OVA was too far apparently.
yeah. I agree.
But
And
honestly,
like
for good reason.
the fact that they're partnering with like an owl in like
Oh yeah,
a tie-dye shirt, and it's just so bizarre.
it was very 90s
Yeah, very.
because I think I
Did you
watched.
ever?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No,
No,
what
no,
were you?
no, you first.
No, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, like, did you ever see the episode of OK KO with Sonic?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, really? Oh, they announced it at like Comic-Con or something like, "Hey, we're gonna do an episode with Sonic in it."
Oh
And
God.
yeah, well, honestly, I liked it. It was funny. A few memes came out of it and everything.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
yeah, yeah.
At least if you can laugh about it, then it's like okay, some good came out of this. That's like thing
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Well, one of the things they really focused on in that episode, like, or well, not focused, the internet focused in on it, but there's a scene where Sonic is reclining in a chair that looks exactly like the one in OVA at the start,
Oh
and everyone
God. Yeah.
got all excited. I died a little bit.
Oh God, I can imagine.
Yeah, but thankfully it wasn't a big thing. It was like a quick gag.
Uh, oh yeah,
But
just get it away, get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Surely.
gotta make the reference, and then it just disappears.
Yeah. Speaking of
So
that, though, like in
mhm.
terms of like fond and maybe not so fond memories, because I'm thinking of like the games you played like on stream,
Mhm.
especially Sonic 06, of course,
Oh, of course, yeah.
and Shadow the Hedgehog being another notable one. Because I do
Yep.
remember jumping into that stream and just being like, "Oh God, you're on that level."
Yep, I was on the arc
Yeah.
level when you joined.
Oh, I was like, "Hey guys, how's it go?" Oh no, you poor person.
Oh, I know, and I was trying to do the hero route too, which
Yeah,
is the worst
oh,
one.
it really is. Usually I think I just like do the kind of semi alright, and then by the
Yep.
time I get to the end, I just do like a beeline for either good or evil. And the last
Yep,
couple of
yep.
levels, I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing that. Go
Yeah.
away. Yeah, but yeah, sorry, I did have a point. Sorry to that
Yes,
question.
yeah.
Yeah. So are there any like goods or not good? That sounds silly.
Mhm.
Like are there any memorable moments that you have when you were streaming, like just in
Oh,
general over the?
oh, just in general.
Yeah.
Oh, quite a lot. I mean, even just aside from some of my clips. So there's so Sonic Adventure 2 is I think the only game I've ever 100%ed more than once.
Hmm.
Because certain games I'll 100%, but Adventure 2 is just so good. I just did it again. And I did it on stream, and that was a very satisfying moment for me. In that series, there was a clip of me playing Meteor Herd, the Knuckles stage,
Oh yeah.
and I was doing hard mode, and so hard mode has fixed emerald locations. If you've played Meteor Herd, you know that sometimes it'll spawn in a meteor to come down and hurt you.
Yeah.
But what's frustrating is the first, like on the hard mode stage, the first emerald is located behind a panel that you have to smash with a rock to
Yeah.
access. And I had been trying at this stage a couple of times already because I would get the rock into the right position and a meteor would come down and destroy it. And it got to the point where I had positioned this rock perfectly. It was basically guaranteed that I would break the panel open, and then a meteor came down and destroyed it, and I got really mad.
Oh God.
I had to take a deep breath and
Yeah.
collect myself. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun moments I could share. Playing Blade and Sorcery, which is a VR game. That's a ton of fun because I lose my mind. I just I sound like a murderer because I am a murderer in that game. And yeah, honestly, I'm not. I mean, I've always wanted to be just kind of a streamer that people can just stop by and hang out with and have a nice time. So there aren't a whole lot of, super exciting moments, but I've just kind of in general, just being around people, being able to chat. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's just because I don't get to talk about video games with the people around me a whole lot because nobody else is as obsessive as me. So if I go up to my well, okay, most of my friends. Um, if I go up to some friends and I'm like, "Hey, did you see that the Cotton reboot's getting brought to the West?" And they were like, "Yeah, great, sure." But if I, being able to chat and say to chat and go like, "Hey, did you hear about this game release?" And then people can be like, "Yeah, I've heard about that. That's cool." I think that's the biggest thing for me, more so than any individual clip.
Would you say it's quite good to have Twitch as like an outlet then
Oh,
for like those
absolutely.
kind of things?
I started my Twitch channel for several reasons, namely to play and beat games and to, vent all these things. But I have found that it's brought a lot more self-confidence, a lot easier, just communication and just in general, I found it to be quite an experience if nothing else. I would recommend streaming to everyone basically.
Would you say though that like, say when you got into streaming to begin with, was it what you expected? When you went
Hmm.
into streaming, did you have any like kind of like preconceptions that you knew what you
Well,
were getting into?
I not I'm not so much this way anymore, but I used to not really be a fan of playthroughs and stuff because I always felt like if you like a game enough to see it through to its end, I feel like you should support the developer in some way, and sometimes I feel like playthroughs kind of discourage that, especially on like story-driven games. it's not so much the case, now that I've actually experienced it and realized that, hey, this actually gets people interested in things. But I definitely at least had that as a conception before I started streaming. I thought me streaming this game is going to discourage, people's interest in actually getting it. But I found that that's not really the case. It's nice to be able to just share something and have someone go like, hey, I saw you play this and I was so interested I got it. That's really fun. Otherwise, I don't know. I tried not to have too many expectations going forward because I always feel like when you're trying something new, it's best to just not have expectations so you can build up from there. When I was streaming, just I just did it.
I was just going to say, like, as a fellow Sonic fan, like, I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, yeah.
Not having your expectations high, just being like,
Yeah, that too.
it's
Exactly.
like keep them low and steady.
Yep. I do that with basically all the Sonic games nowadays, and that's why Mania is such a great surprise for me.
Oh, exactly.
Well, when I first watched the reveal stream, I was actually really upset because I didn't really understand what Mania was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do a very good job communicating it. So I was like, I waited how long, and all I get is a ROM hack. Like, what is this? But as it turns out, I went into it with an open mind, and it really surprised me.
Sorry, I'm just checking the checking the
it's
chat
fine.
to see if there's any pitchforks. No, we're okay. We're okay. There's
Oh,
there's
okay,
no
good.
torches. There's no pitchforks. You're all right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, I love Mania. It's the true Sonic 4 to me. When they announced it, I definitely was trying to keep my expectations low because I didn't think there would be, much from it. That's the best way to approach those things.
Oh, absolutely. And I was going to say, like, it kind of looping both, like, into, again, into streaming. And, like, when I started streaming myself, I, like, really wanted, and this is probably a very naive way to go about streaming, so any future streamers be warned, but I really wanted to share, like, games that I played when I was younger. So, like, for example, when I started off, like, I did Pokemon, it was like a very badly translated version of Pokemon Green. And then, it was an awful, like, first couple of streams.
Yeah.
But then I started playing, like, other games from my past. So, like, God, I blanked on the name there. Like, Sonic Adventure, a couple of the Call of Duty games. And then eventually, when I got, like, my computer fixed and everything, I ended up doing things like Simpsons Hit and Run. Like, games
Oh, yeah.
I essentially grew up with, and like, I had a very, very much a fondness for these games.
Yeah.
Some of the games, like, not really so much for Sonic, but for some of the other games, like, I didn't rage on stream, but I got very, like, frustrated because I was playing these games, like, especially Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, yeah.
Because Simpsons Hit and Run is one of those games where it's just like, you think, oh, it's a great game, and technically it is, but there's a lot in that is just so frustrating that you think, why are we here, just to suffer? Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
definitely.
Like, well, literally, I died, I think. I was like 1 second away from completing the game, and because the timer ran out for like a cutscene that I couldn't even control, and it was just a nightmare essentially. But my main point for that wasn't to rant about Hit and Run by any means, but it was more to say, like, do you ever worry, like, if you're going to play a game from your childhood, like Sonic, that it might not hold up, or...
That's an interesting question. I guess to an extent, but at least for me, I'd like to think I like the games I like for genuine game design reasons.
Yeah.
So, when I streamed Shadow, I definitely had slightly fonder memories of it than it actually was. But I think, take this, for what you will, new streamers, but, like... I think the best way to approach Twitch streaming in general is to just stream what you're passionate about. People will be able to tell if you're just doing something just to go along with the trend, or if you're doing something because you genuinely want to do it. And so for me, the little bit of hesitation I get from a game not holding up is kind of overridden by the fact that it's something I'm just passionate about and want to share. I think that's, I get what you mean, but I think that's the important thing for me.
I technically know the answer for this, because I know you're also a fellow variety streamer, hashtag variety streamer gang.
Yes, yeah.
Representing up here.
Yes, yeah.
But was there ever a time where you thought, always just going to focus on, like one game or one
Oh yeah.
series. Was there ever
Hmm.
like a point where you thought that, or were you
Oh
always
yeah.
set on like being a variety streamer?
Well, I was set on being a variety streamer, but there are a lot of people who say if you just stick with one game, people, you'll become a part of that community and people will find you easier.
Hmm.
And so there is always that temptation to stick with the game for a while so that way you can establish yourself and what you're for. For me, kind of as a sidetrack here, but I used to be a big fan of Star underscore on YouTube. He was a TF2 commentator, and he was amazing. I loved all of his content, but he actually just uploaded a video about this recently where he was saying that like the community really didn't support him anywhere else. They would complain if he didn't upload a TF2
Hmm.
video, and it eventually just drained on him. And that's kind of what I want to avoid because I could, I'm happy to stream a bunch of Sonic games, and I know I'll be streaming games like Adventure 2 for forever. But I worry about sticking with one game for too long just because I fear that, if I want to do something else, because,
Hmm.
variety is the spice of life, I worry that people will just go, hey, he's not streaming this thing,
Hmm.
what the hell? That's just not what I want to,
Hmm.
encourage. So I think variety is, better for me personally, but I know there are plenty of people who find much more success sticking with one thing. And I've definitely thought about it.
It's quite strange. It's something that I have noticed with a lot of like, like other variety streamers I've talked to where they've said that they either know someone or they've been in a very similar position where they're saying, oh, I want to, they've noticed people who like stick to one game, whether it be like Call of Duty, or
Mhm.
League of Legends, something. And initially they do get like a very large following, but then as soon as they change games and say like, oh, I'm bored of this game, I don't want to play, like I don't want to play Call of Duty, let's say for example, I want to play
Right.
this other game. Sorry, it just reminded me of the fact that there's like a new, I don't know if you've seen the or not bootleg, but there's like a
Hmm?
new Pokemon knockoff game that was recently
Oh, I
announced, and
I have not seen that.
it's called like Pal World, but it's like
Hmm.
Pokemon in a world where they have guns as well, and it's just
Wow.
it is surreal. I would recommend like going to watch a trailer. It is just absolutely surreal.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, but it's like I'm imagining, like someone saying, "Oh, I'm going from Call of Duty to like something like that," and then
Hmm.
immediately because people are coming for the Call of Duty content, they're saying, "Oh no, I don't want to,
Yeah.
I don't want to come for that content. I want to, come for the other content." So you're kind of like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like doing, as you said earlier, it's doing what makes you happy.
It's at least for me, it's a matter of what helps me sleep at night.
Hmm.
Like would I like to be popular for, for one thing and then
Hmm.
eventually grow to hate it? Or, would I rather be not so popular and,
Hmm.
do what I like to do? And I think, at least for me, I'm the type of person who would just choose,
Hmm.
doing what I want to do. But there are plenty of people who will, say like I'm just going to be this one streamer and I
Yeah.
want to find success in that. And that's fair, fair enough to them.
Hmm.
I'm just not that type myself.
Hmm. I mean, there's no like wrong or right way to stream.
Yeah,
That's it.
oh absolutely. There are people who stream themselves sleeping and find success with that. So like who am I to argue?
Okay, there's one wrong way to do it.
I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it's
no,
so
okay.
weird.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
honestly, like, ever since I got to, I started doing, like, VTubing and things, I think technically I could get away with it if I fell asleep on stream, but I think people would be wondering why the game was, like, still running in the background and there's just nothing but snoring coming from, like, a
Yeah.
3D avatar, and if you're like, okay, this is quite awkward, waking
Yeah.
up, being like,
Yeah.
oh god, yeah, back to the stream.
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I there are plenty of things I would look at and go,
Mm-hmm.
that would never work, and then it ends up working for people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Yeah.
uh, like eating streams and stuff. It's not something I'm interested in, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
more power to you if you can make it work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the whole you do you thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, who am I to judge other people?
Mm-hmm.
So, As long as you're not doing anything illegal or, hate
Yeah.
hate ridden.
Yeah,
I'm cool
exactly.
with it.
So yeah, just kind of as a wrapping up point,
Oh
is
yeah.
there any like tips that you would give to upcoming streamers, or rather
Yeah,
new and upcoming?
yeah. Definitely quite a few. For one thing, I would definitely say, don't expect much when you start off. It's because definitely if you start worrying about view counts and stuff right
Hmm.
away, you will drive yourself insane and it'll burn you out.
Hmm.
So if at all possible, try not to pay attention to view counts and stuff at the beginning because it can be destructive. For one thing, don't take that any view count stuff personally when you do pay attention to it either. I've had streams that are less successful and more successful, and when I try and think about why, a lot of times there isn't really much of a reason, just, people have their lives and aren't able to attend or, what have you. It's easy to take that personally, but you really shouldn't. So I definitely recommend that. Obviously, stream what you're passionate about, which I kind of went over.
Hmm.
Because again, I think people can smell the genuine interest versus the, people just trying to bank on something popular. I guess the only other thing I would, majorly say is like try your best to have good audio. It's something that, I mean, I still struggle with myself, but if you ever go to a streamer with bad audio, there's something just in like the back of my mind, at least my mind, that is like, oh gosh, this is so painful. And it's
Yeah.
not because I'm trying to be like mean about it, but there's just something instinctive that makes me just
Yeah.
kind of worried about bad audio. So definitely try and pay attention to all your audio and balancing and stuff because that's really important.
And also make sure that your mute button's not on.
Oh yeah,
Because I've had that,
yeah,
and it is not a fun time.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And if there's no harm also in asking things, I've found.
Mhm.
Because like if you go, hey, is my audio good? Like, is the game too loud? I feel like people are happy enough to oblige, just say, yeah, the game could be a little lower or higher. Like I
Mhm.
feel like that goes a long way, and I feel like some people are too prideful to admit or to ask.
Yeah.
But there's no harm in asking.
No,
That's
absolutely.
kind of really the main thing.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, see when you started out as well, like, did you feel as if you had to, like, I mean, your setup and overlay is awesome just now, but like, see when
Thank
you
you.
started out, did you feel as if you had to get like like a fancy layout with like transitions and things like that, and
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah.
definitely. So my very first streams, which I don't think anyone has really seen.
Mhm.
um, I just downloaded one off of the Streamlabs like little shop for overlays, and it works. But there was that I don't know what to call it, drive, I guess, to get something personal, custom.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's a nice thing to have, but I don't think should be like the immediate focus for new people
Hmm.
because I think just refining what you have should be the most important first step, and then you can work on all the little extras. If you're messing up fundamentals, all these little things aren't going to fix them.
That is definitely something I think I learned the hard way. That honestly, it's as you said, like as long as the game's coming through okay and you've got good audio, then I think definitely that's. I wouldn't say that's all you need, but I feel as if that's like the major thing you need to get right.
Yeah.
And like audio in itself is like a huge like beast and a half. Trying to get the
Yes.
right level, trying to make sure it's coming through the right channel and everything. It's like
Yes. Yeah.
utter nightmare. I mean, other than that, like new streamers, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
But I always remember when I started off, like as I said before, I was playing Pokemon and I had made like this kind of custom. It wasn't overly fancy, but it was just like a kind of a mini overlay thing where I had like like the team and everything, and
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
computer like that I was using at the time was like a second hand one that one of my friends had like he was tossing it out and it was like, oh, here you go, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was like a game of Russian roulette where sometimes it would work for like a good hour, sometimes it would work for like 10 minutes, sometimes it would work for half an hour. It was never consistent, and
Yeah.
I was always worried because I thought, okay, I can stream from like my Xbox, but if I stream from my Xbox, then like I was worried about again, and this is definitely something you shouldn't worry about, but you know, like the view counts and everything, and
Yeah.
like I was really worried about that, thinking, is it going to be as popular or not? But
Yeah, yeah.
weirdly enough, like playing Sonic Adventure
Mhm.
on, and I've told this story 100 times, so apologies if you've heard this for like the 101st. But
Hey.
yeah, basically, long story short, I played Sonic Adventure, and that's when I started getting like strangers into the stream, like beyond people that like I knew in real life. That was the turning point. It made me kind of realise that, you know, you don't need like a fancy layout.
Hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like obviously pretty
Yeah,
visuals and all of that.
it's a nice thing to have.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I suppose it's like as long as you're getting yourself across there. I mean, like I've seen what you do in your streams, and you do it like really well.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
both interacting with the chat and like balancing the gameplay as well. Because
Yeah.
and again, I don't want to like poop on other streamers or anything, but
Yeah.
there's some streams I've got into where I've desperately like wanted to be supportive, but they're
Right.
not very interactive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
I know
they're
what you mean.
quite, and I mean, don't get me wrong, if they say like not going to be talking to the chat or if it's a challenge run, that's fair enough. Like I don't
Sure.
expect it. Or if it's like a really popular streamer, and if you
Yeah.
touch the like the chat bar, you're gonna get your you're gonna get your fingers like sawn off because it's so
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
But especially with like streamers who are quite new, like if streamers are new into it, like that's just a learning curve. Like that's
Yes.
not something that people are necessarily going to know. But there's some that it looks as if they've been around for ages and they still don't interact, or if they do, it's very minimum. I suppose it's like it depends on what you're looking for in a
Yeah,
streamer,
true.
but yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes it's just it doesn't feel as welcoming when you walk in. Like I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
expecting them to like have like party poppers ready to be like Satsunami, boo,
Yeah.
like. But at the same time, you're like even a hey or a. And I get it, like
Mhm.
not everyone's gonna want to be called out, but
Yeah.
I suppose it's just trying to find that style that like suits you.
Of course, yeah. That's probably one thing, at least for my streams. I've always tried to treat my streams kind of like it's just someone, other people on the couch with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of try and treat everyone like, hey, it's a new friend. It's someone who just joined me on the couch and is going to watch me play through this. And I think that goes to make people feel really just kind of at home and comfortable. And that's a really important thing because, again, like you said, it depends on what you're going for, but for my money, I always try and, just kind of feel like a little community, a little group of people who enjoy watching, certain games or just chatting about things. Also, I did think of two more pieces of advice I
Oh
could
yeah,
give.
go for it.
One is definitely consistency, which is something a lot of smaller streamers struggle with, and even I do to an extent. Twitch recommends that you like have a stream schedule so people know when you're streaming so they can come back and stuff. But I think a lot of people complain about like algorithms when it comes to YouTube or Twitch or wherever you stream. But I think that algorithms like it the most when they see someone consistent, you know,
Yeah.
just doing what they want, which is trying to, get out there. So I think, obviously no algorithm's perfect, but I think if you stream, regularly, keep at it, it generally just statistically works out for you. It doesn't have to be like super often or really long streams. Like you can do whatever works for you, just as long as you keep it consistent. Because I feel like people have a tendency to overthink it,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, I need to, these are the most popular times and this is the most popular like hours. I just think if you just stay with your own schedule and keep consistent, things will work out for you.
I know, absolutely.
And yeah,
Sorry.
and oh no, it's fine. Sorry, my brain kind of got stuck trying to think of the second thing. Well, oh yeah, just interaction is a great thing, and I think for small streamers, they sometimes struggle with that. But try not to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Blame yourself too much for it, because it's even for me, I still struggle with trying to keep up with chat and play the game that I'm playing. But as long as you let chat know that you're not just trying to ignore them, or if something happens, you'll eventually learn to get used to checking chat, see if anyone said anything, or you'll find your groove. Interaction is key, but also don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect the first few times. It's just something you grow into.
It is hard though to like honestly, last point, I swear. I could
It's
talk
fine.
for Scotland, I swear. But it is like something that is very difficult at times to do. Like in terms of not taking it personally and being
Mhm.
like, okay, this is just. I have to
Mhm.
admit, I have been in other streamers' chats, and don't get me wrong, I'm not
Sure.
like blaming the streamer themselves for like their chat. I mean, for your chat especially, it's like a very welcoming place. Like all the people that are in your chat are really like, they're very, welcoming. They're very nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
there's some streams I've been into though where it's kind of like, I don't. I think honestly, it's the chat's kind of reflective though of the kind of streamer you want to be. If
Oh,
that makes
absolutely.
sense. Like,
Well,
oh,
I
sorry.
was actually going to bring up, so, a lot of people complain about certain platforms, like, oh, YouTube is the community so toxic, or like Twitter so toxic,
Yeah.
or anything. I've always found that the internet in general is always just kind of what you make of it. Like, if you end up being a really negative person online, if you kind of build yourself up as being some sort of, mean person, you tend to attract those types of people. And I've always felt like as long as you make it clear, what you want to get out of it and what you're trying for, I feel like people tend to gravitate towards that, birds of a feather, so to
Yeah.
speak. So I wanted to be welcoming, and I don't want that kind of toxicity in my chat room. So I think I've found people who, kind of gravitated towards that and understand that, yeah, being toxic is not going to be, appropriate around here. So I feel like that's another thing that certain streamers need to kind of learn too, is like, there are some people who think like, oh, I'll just put up with it because, hey, they're still, giving me views. But I think there's a point where it stops being beneficial.
It's honestly
And
not worth the views if they're
yeah,
bringing that kind of attention.
exactly.
I have to admit, I've not dealt with like, and again, touch wood,
Mm.
but it's like there have been instances where I've dealt with semi-difficult people or people just being quite awkward and
Yeah.
like just in the chat, whether they're like, "Oh, review this video," or there was another instance where
Oh, yeah.
someone like put me on blast saying like, "Oh, you." Like unfollowed me or you did this or oh can you play with me on this
Yeah.
game or something like just really random things out of nowhere. And don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, it is stuff you have to expect, like being a streamer and everything, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like you would rather that everybody in the chat felt comfortable. Like, I have to admit, I always feel
Yes.
really happy when I look at my chat and like well, I don't want to say a stranger, but like someone who's
Hmm.
like not a regular comes in, they'll be like, "Oh hey, I see you playing this game," or "Hey, this or that," and then
Yeah.
like people in my chat start welcoming, them
Hmm.
saying, "Oh hey, how you doing?" Like I know in your chat you've got a user called, and yeah, I'm gonna call them out, Groovy Ninja, who of course like
Yes. Yeah.
they are just very welcoming every time I come into the chat and they go, "Oh, hi, Satsu," and everything. And it's just like,
Yeah. Groovy's amazing.
yeah, they're so nice.
Yeah, really. I was so thankful to have met them. I was actually going to bring up the stream where I met them because it's always really nice to have someone who, will join and just be like, "Hey, you seem like a really cool person," and I feel right following you. I think that's kind of the best way to go about it because you want people or at least for me, I don't want them to feel like they have to follow. I feel like I want follows that actually are interested in just following, who think I'm a cool guy.
Yeah.
So, meeting people like Groovy, and also I met in my stream, I'm gonna name drop Joker Girl. She was incredibly kind and a fantastic streamer as well. It's just nice because when you have people like that join, it just makes you feel so much more, I don't know what the word is, propped up. You're able to find people who also are just really kind and cool. So that's what I've enjoyed most about building my community is just finding people who are really cool and actually interested in just being around and chatting. And I think that's the fun of it for me.
Like, this is, I don't mean this to sound like negative at all. Sorry. I was just going to say, like, oh god, what I'm going to say, by the way, it's not as bad as I just made it out to be. I was like, it's like, not to be negative, but
Yeah.
like, did you expect that? Like, see, going into streaming, like, did you expect to meet like so many, just brilliant people, really, like, and
Yeah.
new friends
I
and
mean,
everything?
well, yeah, that at least from my experience, I was thinking maybe I'll meet like one person who I'll kind of be acquaintances with. But as it turns out, I've actually met quite a few friends through streaming, and it's been honestly, especially in the pandemic, it has been quite the godsend just to, meet people and socialize and just find really nice people to talk to because I was feeling really isolated. So having a stream to get to was just such a blessing. Shout outs to Groovy for keeping me going.
Yeah, thanks,
So,
Groovy.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing though. Like, I have to admit, I personally wasn't sure because that way when you go into like a new community on the internet, and you're not really too sure like how things are gonna go. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's either you're gonna go in and you're gonna like meet a lot of amazing people, which is also my experience, but like, or you're just gonna go into it and people are gonna be quite like standoffish and cold maybe.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think I definitely think it's like your luck of the draw, really, for some.
Yes.
Because some streams I've gone into, they've been, and including yours, of course, as well. Like, they've been incredibly warm, very, like, receptive and everything. And then it's led to me, like, talking to people later on. Whereas there's some, like, streamers where, that way where you try to talk to them or try to make, like, a effort, and then
Yes.
it kind of like doesn't go anywhere. And I'm not saying that as if, oh, with every streamer you have to like be best friends with them or
Right.
or get anything from it. It's just more connecting with people. And
Yeah.
it's amazing how you go from like, popping into someone's chat to sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking
Yeah.
the reason we met was just because I popped into your chat to watch
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play Sonic 06. And now you're here.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
it's amazing how it kind of like goes along, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say because after you popped into my chat, I remembered following you and like popping into your chat, and I remembered seeing your community. And initially I was like, because this is just a personal thing, but like I was kind of anxious because
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who these people are. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what the social circumstances are, but like. After I've been in, a few of the chats, I kind of, I recognize people, and you have a great community too, who
Oh,
I've
thank
felt very welcome in, and it's just one of those things that I don't think people fully understand, like what, what it's like to just be around that. Quite a blessing.
Yeah, I do love my community, I have to say. I'm going to be completely biased here and be like, yep, they're the best, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I do love my community. They're just so. I honestly
Yeah.
would, and this will sound so like it might sound a bit cheesy, but in all honesty, I would honestly rather have like a small community that
Hmm.
it's like it feels very kind of close knit, which is why
Yes.
like I
Yeah.
also have the Discord for like anyone who wants to like talk about things, they want to just exchange memes or anything like that. Like I want to
Yeah.
make sure that they're they feel like there's a place they can just kind of chill, and
Yeah.
and I know you do the same as well. It is just really nice knowing that people are coming back just to kind of feel like they can chill out there or they can do like
Yeah.
this or that, rather than coming into a chat where you think, oh god, what am I getting myself into here?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I kind of grapple with this, because sometimes I think to myself, like, what if I just suddenly overnight became like the next ninja or whoever, like, just hundreds of thousands of people just suddenly started, following me and all that. I thought about how I would react, and I definitely prefer the kind of small community feel, but I always feel like I would never want to turn someone down who genuinely does want to be a part of the group. So I wouldn't necessarily say I like small communities in that I like the vibes that they give, but also like if I grew to be like some sort of massive phenomenon, as long as everyone was nice,
Hmm.
I would still be happy with that too. It's just a it's just a matter of I don't know, what's the word, personality
Yeah.
rather than size.
I mean,
That's the important thing for me.
I mean, like, God forbid, like, if I ever got to that point, but I feel as if that would be the thing that I would miss the most. Like, being
Yeah.
able to interact with the chat directly,
Oh yeah, I
you
know.
know, and like to be able to kind of, yeah, have that sense of community. Because don't get
Mm.
me wrong, like, I'm not bashing bigger streamers, maybe
Yeah,
one
yeah.
or two of them, but but it's
Yeah.
like you don't feel as if, and again, I know it's kind of like it's not like a, you're not really friends with the streamer, if you know what I mean. Well, we are, but
Oh,
like with
you,
bigger streamers, I mean, I
you
suppose.
you don't feel like you know them.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard to feel like, I wouldn't say a personal connection, but it's like it's hard to think, oh, you're part of a community when it's like you'll say hey, and like, let's say Ninja's chat, for example,
Mhm.
you say hey, and then that gets lost by like 100 Pepe faces,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
coming up like a second later, you know.
yeah.
Whereas at least with smaller communities, you can at least get to know other streamers, and if you are a streamer as well, like you and I both are, it's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a fantastic way to get to know, not only get to know
Right.
people, but also like get, I suppose, tips as well, and kind of like
Yeah.
how can you. I'm not advocating stealing ideas, by the way. I'd be like, what's this idea? But like getting kind of ideas for your own streams and things like that, and
Mhm.
being able to bounce ideas off of one another. And
Yeah.
again, it's like I guess you could say it's like a sub community. It's like a community within a community,
Right,
communityception.
right.
Where it's like you can talk to like your followers and who like become friends and everything, but then you've
Mhm.
also got the other creators that you support, and then you become
Right.
friends with them through that. And yeah, I just think it's awesome, like
Oh
that
yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
possibility. Fun
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Fun times for
Yes.
Twitch.
Yes, definitely. I love my community too. For anyone from my community listening in, thank you to, for honestly everything, for keeping me going and having a nice time with me and everything.
Yeah, I
So,
second that. Your community is awesome.
thank you.
And a message to my community as well, by the way, that doesn't mean you're any less valid. I
Yeah,
just want to point
of
that
course.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But no, your community is like it's so welcoming and it's so friendly. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. It's a pleasure to be in your streams.
Yeah, it's
Like just to chill out. Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoy being in yours. I'm just sad that I can't always do it because of time differences and it's just the hectic schedule I have in my real life.
Oh yeah, time
Uh,
schedules are, they're horrible.
yeah, and also like there are also a lot of different streamers I've met and like want to support, but there aren't enough
Yeah.
hours in the day to be at every one of them.
Oh,
So like
absolutely.
I'll find myself trying to go to like two or three at once, and it just doesn't doesn't work out as well.
Yeah, I
So
always feel bad when I see like a couple of streamers where I'm like, oh, that I'm friends with that person. I'll go in their stream, but then you see a couple others and you're like, oh no, why are you all
yeah,
streaming at the same time? It's like this
yeah.
isn't right.
Oh, I know. That's like me every day. It's like, oh, I know this person. I wanted to support them, and then it's like, oh, but then this person's online too, and this person too, and, and then I just end up having an entire window full of tabs of people who I want to go support more, but I just can't. Can't be in so many places at once. So the
Always,
difficulties of wanting to support.
but it's totally worth it at the end though.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt there. It is still worth doing, but
Oh yeah.
there's definitely an amount of, oh gosh, I want to do all these things and I can't.
Yeah. It's like one day they'll have technology that'll definitely suit it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
We can
I'll
multi-stream one
clone
day.
myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be like Google lurking or something. I'm sure Amazon will
Yes.
think of it.
Or an AI that acts exactly like you to go into other streams.
God, yeah, you haven't seen me without coffee. That's yeah, that's pretty much what it would be like. It'd just be like a slur of like keyboard mashing. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Oh, yeah, he seems fine.
Yeah. I wonder how an AI based on me would react. I'd probably be fairly generic. Just be like, "Hi, doing well. You?"
Hello, fellow streamers. It is
Yes,
I.
yeah. Hello, fellow humans.
Yeah. Before we kind of finish up, where can these amazing people like listening at home find your content?
So my main source of content is Twitch, obviously. So Twitch, SuperShadow271 is my username. Honestly, if you just look up SuperShadow271 anywhere, you'll probably find me. But I have four main things. I have a Twitch account where I do all my streams and stream pretty regularly. I have a main YouTube channel where I've been trying to work on gaming content, but between real life things and my streaming and stuff, I've kind of been slow to upload. I am working on gaming content for a main YouTube channel, so Super Shadow 271 there. I have a stream archives channel, so like if you want to catch up on older streams of mine, I do have a stream archives YouTube channel, and I have a Twitter account where sometimes I'll post funny things and or just retweet interesting stuff. So those are the main four.
Yeah, guys, go check it out. Definitely. Because, yeah, as I said before, and I'm not lying when I say that, I say this to every person jokingly as they come on, like saying, I'm not just saying this because you're on. But genuinely, like, it is such a chill environment, like, in your streams, and, yeah, your YouTube videos are great as well.
I appreciate that.
Like, I really do enjoy them. Go check it out, guys.
Thank you. I'd appreciate it. But also, thank you, Satsu, for having me on. I honestly could talk way more, so if you ever want to have me on again, I'd be happy to do it.
Do you know, I might take you up on that in all seriousness.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Just say, hey, you want to go, and I'll be on. So, definitely let me know.
Yeah.
This is really fun.
Yeah, so next week we're going to be doing the 6-hour Satsunami special on our opinions on Sonic 06 and
Yes, yeah, exactly. We're going to go over every frame of gameplay.
Yeah, every hour we have to switch characters. It's like,
yes.
Okay, we're at Sonic, then we're at Elise,
Yeah,
but no.
Randomizer.
Yeah, that gives me an idea. In fact, no, I better put that idea away. It's like we probably not probably, we definitely could talk about that.
I could talk for hours about anything. So,
but I'll definitely be taking you up on that offer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you guys want to see more of my content, you can see me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, of course, TikTok, and Facebook. I swear to God, this list gets longer every episode. Under the name Satsunami42. If you want to check out more Chatsunami episodes, then you can check it on Anchor, Spotify, and, of course, all good podcast distributors. So if you have a podcast app, type in Chatsunami, and if you see the red panda, click on it, and I will be there. Also, there is the T-Posing series, which is a Let's Play series between my friends and I, where we basically have just been playing through a bunch of random games. Breath of the Wild, as you and I were talking about earlier there.
Yes.
As well as Warzone and Heavy Rain, also known as Depressing Dad Simulator. So if you want to see a talking sandwich critique, I better finish that sentence because I was like, if you want to see like a chippy sandwich bully a depressed dad, then probably the weirdest thing I've said all night. But you know what? It's on there.
Jason,
Sean. Oh, it has been a lot of fun doing those. So if you want to check them out, it's on the YouTube channel Satsunami42, and just look up the T-Posing Let's Play and enjoy.
Highly recommended.
Thank you.
Take it from me.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely not being paid to say this. No.
Wait, hold on. Right, okay, I've just logged into PayPal. We're still streaming, right?
We agreed that I get the second cut afterwards, right?
Oh yeah. Don't worry, I'll edit this out. Nobody's gonna hear this, but
nobody will hear.
But Shadow, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joining tonight. No, honestly, it's been a pleasure. Like talking Sonic and just like general stream things as well.
Oh, of course. I love talking about it, and you're really nice, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's much appreciated. All I
Yeah.
can say is I'm looking forward to going back through it and editing it later.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, it should
get
be
out.
fun.
Yeah. But no, thank you
I'm
so
gonna,
much. Oh, sorry.
yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna be rewatching it or
Oh yeah.
re-listening, I guess, myself.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah, the VOD will still be up, guys. So feel free.
Yeah, yeah.
Feel free to listen. Um, so yeah, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Again, thank you, Shadow, for joining.
Yeah.
And also a huge thank you to your community,
Oh, of course.
Groovy as well, and Pam, and just
Yes.
everyone really in your community that's been
Yes.
so nice. And again, yep, shout out to my community as well. I'm just,
Yes.
it's like I'm just making sure you're
Yeah.
also
Well,
loved. But no, your community.
yeah. Well, also shout out from me to your community
Oh,
for,
thank you.
having me on and, being cool and all that. I really appreciate it.
No, it's honestly, it's been a pleasure. So thank you. And yeah, guys, as always, stay safe, stay awesome, and of course, most importantly, stay hydrated. Bye, guys.
Bye.